I love making these chicken tenders because they make great snack food, and I've even figured out a way to Italianize them. So I'm gonna take the chicken tenders and put them in this bowl, and we're gonna marinate them in some buttermilk. Now the thing about chicken tenders is there are these strips of meat that are located under the chicken breast. So as the name leads you to believe, they are very tender, and that's why I love them. We're gonna add a cup of buttermilk. The buttermilk helps tenderize the chicken even more. It also gives them a nice tang. Just leave them in there. Make sure they're all covered nicely. And you want them to sit and marinate for about 15 minutes or up to half hour. It really does break the meat down, the proteins in the chicken, and help make it really tender. Okay, so we'll leave those alone. In the meantime, I'm gonna make the coating. We're gonna use 3/4 of a cup of breadcrumbs, and they're seasoned Italian breadcrumbs. So they've got Italian seasonings in it. They've got dried parsley, maybe a little bit of thyme. If you don't buy the Italian seasoning or you just have in your pantry regular plain breadcrumbs, go ahead and add some dried herbs to them. So you can just add dried herbs to your plain breadcrumbs and get Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. And of course, we're gonna add freshly grated Parmesan cheese and mix it together. And this is a good time to buy the pre-grated stuff, so you don't have to sit here and grate all your cheese. Otherwise, if you have little nubs or little stubs of Parmesan cheese left over in the fridge, throw them in the food processor, and you'll get this nice ground up Parmesan cheese you can use for things like this. And this adds a really crusty, crunchy coating to the chicken, and also it keeps the chicken tenders even more moist when they're baked in the oven. We'll leave that alone, and in the meantime, I'm gonna make the dressing. And this is what I'm gonna dip the chicken tenders in. I'm gonna show you a little something about garlic. I'm gonna take a couple cloves of garlic here, and we're gonna crush them here with the back of the knife. Now, we'll just peel the skin off of it. I crush them with a little bit of force, just because I'm going to make a paste out of the garlic. And making a paste out of the garlic really intensifies the flavor, and I really want that for the dipping. I'm just gonna chop it just a little bit. So you wanna get it into a nice mince, and then we're gonna add some salt to it. The salt helps break down the garlic even further and helps create a paste. And right against a flat surface, just go ahead and just make it into a paste. It takes a little bit of work. You could do this in a mortar and pestle too. And you can see that there's a little bit of liquid and moisture coming out of the garlic. And that is what you want. It just gives a really nice creamy feel and flavor. Okay, that looks good. And add a little bit more salt in there, a little bit of freshly ground pepper, and about 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. And it's thick and a little bit sweet. It helps add that tang and acidity to the vinaigrette, but also gives it a little bit of sweetness. Mix that together. I love good flavored balsamic vinegar. Now we're gonna add about a half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. And again, this is where you wanna spend the money on good olive oil because you can really taste it here. It makes a big difference between an okay dressing and a really good dressing. Okay, we'll leave that. And when my chicken is finished marinating, I'm gonna dredge it in the breadcrumb and Parmesan mixture and get it in the oven. Just make sure and shake off the extra buttermilk. That way you don't get a clumpy crust. The thickness from the buttermilk also helps the breadcrumbs and the Parmesan mixture stick to the chicken tenders. There we go. And line them up. Drizzle the top with a little bit of olive oil. And it's just so that there's a little bit of moisture that the breadcrumbs can sort of absorb and create that wonderful golden crust as if you had fried them. So that's the trick to getting that beautiful fried color, that golden brown, is to drizzle a little bit of olive oil right on top. Okay, now I'm gonna pop them in the oven, 500 degrees for 12 minutes. And then it's time to dig into them.